What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to bring you guys my final team for the upcoming Game Week 17. As you guys know, absolutely mental Game Week 17, probably the worst time of the season not to have a deadline stream, but unfortunately this wasn't planned and I'm not going to be having a deadline stream tonight, and that's why I wanted to get this video out for you guys to make my final thoughts and give you guys a transfer plan for the upcoming deadline. Now if you guys have been living under a rock, you would have seen that there's been a massive announcement with postponements. Positive tests are hitting left and right for respective clubs. So we're going to analyze all the news first, and then I'm going to bring you guys my team selection as well as my transfer plan leading up to the deadline. I do apologize that this video is a little bit rushed. Unfortunately, I'm having to record this on my lunch break, so I want to be a little bit fast so that I can edit it in the lunch break as well and release it a little bit later for you guys to kind of digest. So that's something you guys are interested in. Sit back, relax, and let's get straight into it. But first, a word from our sponsor. This video has been sponsored by fantasyfootballfix.com. Use the website or their newly updated application. Make use of their price predictor tool to check your own players' prices as well as who's dropping and rising in price. Improve your rank by making use of their advanced tools as well as the algorithm, which helps back up your own FPL decisions. Win your mini leagues by keeping track of your main mini league rivals. Upload your FPL squad for free at fantasyfootballfix.com. So as I mentioned, massive news about the United vs Brentford game being postponed tonight. That was actually going to be the first game that was happening tonight. So the deadline has moved on 15 minutes. Not really much time to kind of analyze transfers more, but we do get an extra 15 minutes to make those transfers before the deadline. So we actually got this news quite late last night. It was actually apparently 1:45 my time, South African time. But if you guys are based in the UK, I think it was about 20 or 11:45 at night. So quite strange there because it was less than 24 hours before the kickoff of that respective game, and as far as my understanding was, the Premier League has to kind of notify fans traveling for the away games at least 24 hours before. So a little bit strange there, but it just shows you guys that for these upcoming games there might actually be more games postponed in Game Week 17 that we can't even prepare for because they're going to be cancelled less than 24 hours before. So I wouldn't be worrying too much about those. There are some other clubs that have some positive tests, but I'm pretty sure that those games will go ahead. There has been some speculation about the Brighton game on the weekend for United. I think that game will go ahead because if you look at kind of what happened with Spurs, their game on Sunday was postponed, but they are potentially going to be playing against Leicester on Thursday. So that's quite a quick turnaround between those two fixtures. So I'm pretty sure United should be fine for the weekend. So if you guys are kind of basing your transfers on the United assets being out for 2 game weeks, maybe take a second thought about that and ask yourself if that is going to influence your decision. I'm not going to focus too much on other teams with some speculation. There's been some news about the Man City game. However, the deadline is going to be tonight and the Man City game is happening tonight as well. So I do think we'll get news before the deadline if that Man City game is called off. And as of recording this video, it's on, but that might change in the future. Now, I know you guys are probably really stressed, but I would just say calm down, take it easy. I apologize for not being able to do the deadline stream because I'm pretty sure I would have calmed you guys down quite a bit. This kind of happens in this scenario that we're currently in, this pandemic that we're in. We just have to take it on the chin and deal with it as best we can. So talking about kind of dealing with it as best we can, I'm going to be focusing on how I'm going to deal with it for this upcoming Game Week 17 with my own personal team. So what I decided to do was take the team selection from yesterday and I took out the fixtures and I added crosses next to the players that I am slightly worried about. A red cross means that their fixture has been postponed. You'll see the United and the Brentford assets. The orange flag for Adam Armstrong is because he's currently injured, and the blue cross is for Smith Rowe because I'm a little bit concerned about his rotation risk. So in terms of my starting 11, besides the kind of rotation risks and the injuries, just taking out the postponed players, I still do have a full starting 11, but obviously when you add those kind of crosses in, I might not have a starting 11 to begin with. So at least I do still have a Ben White to come off the bench for someone like an Mbumo. If Adam Armstrong is back from his injury, he could start in for Ronaldo. And what Hasenhuttl said yesterday is that Adam Armstrong and Broja's injuries aren't too major. They didn't train yesterday, but they might train today. And as far as I know, their game's tomorrow, so they could also train tomorrow and be fit. So I do still have hope that Adam Armstrong is actually going to feature, but he does have a tough fixture against Crystal Palace's side that maybe not defensively, but they have been overall quite strong. And Southampton's poor form of the recent couple game weeks does worry me slightly. But at least that is a player that I could potentially have, but he is a big question mark because he didn't train yesterday. So I'm not really classifying him as a full starting 11 player, and with Cancelo, with that suspension, he definitely will be missing that Leeds game. Now the first division I want to talk about is going to be my goalkeeper situation because David De Gea and Ben Foster are both out through kind of the postponements and also long-term injuries. So I actually ended up playing goalkeeper for game week 17, similar to last week when I had Sanchez and Foster, and I actually made the move for De Gea. Doesn't look that great now, should have maybe gone for a Ramsdale, but who would have kind of predicted that the United vs Brentford game would be postponed. So now I'm kind of left with a little bit of a dilemma. I could do a transfer, maybe take a hit for a goalkeeper. I never like actually using free transfers anyway, so hit might be a little bit excessive, but if I had to upgrade maybe Foster to a Bachmann, that could be a scenario that I do get some advantage out of. Overall, defense looks pretty solid except for maybe a Cancelo. I am slightly worried about a Reece James and Alonso in terms of rotation, but I don't think it's enough of a concern to kind of highlight them with a blue tick. But Alonso, James, they haven't been playing overall that great. I mean, Chelsea overall maybe haven't been up to their usual standard, but I am worried maybe potentially about a potential benching, yeah? And a benching this week, game week 17, will be utter carnage because then I definitely won't have a full starting 11. The midfield department, besides the Liverpool assets of Mo Salah and Jota, I'm perfectly fine with these two, but Douglas Luiz, I was actually quite happy with him. The fixture looks good on paper, but Norwich have actually been quite good under the new manager. I'm just hoping that Douglas Luiz replicates some of the passing and the chances created because he is on set pieces, so I do still have some hope for maybe an attacking return, but not expecting too much as he is 4.5 million. And finally, we have Antonio. I mean, most people own a Ramsdale. I probably will have to play a Ben White. I'm hoping for a clean sheet. I'm hoping for an Antonio goal. Who kind of knows in this game? Antonio hasn't got any returns, so maybe a clean sheet is on the cards, but I just hope that Antonio can get some attacking returns because I do think the ownership of him in the higher ranks is lower than the ownership of Ramsdale. So overall, as I said, a full starting 11 if Adam Armstrong and also Smith Rowe start, but those two players, I'm expecting them to miss out. I think Smith Rowe will be benched for Martinelli. I think he's playing too well at the current moment to be benched, and I think that Arteta will get some minutes in Smith Rowe just to get his match fitness up. Now, is that a good thing? Is it a bad thing? I think West Ham's quite a tough game, to be honest, from an attacking point of view, so I wouldn't be expecting too much from him anyways, but because he's going to be benched, I don't really want to start him as I don't want a 1-point appearance even in game week 17. But now let's go on and talk about my transfer plan. So currently I have one free transfer and about 0.1 million in the bank, but the big transfer and the popular one this week is going to be Ronaldo out, and then obviously you would downgrade him. I'm saying downgrade because I don't think anyone's going to be going for a Harry Kane, even though their fixture might be on against Leicester. I think the downgrade will be a super popular transfer, and the main kind of template transfer to do is going to be Ollie Watkins from Aston Villa. Now Aston Villa overall have some great fixtures coming up, Norwich away in game week 17 and then Burnley at home in game week 18, so for maybe a little bit of a short punt, you can go for an Aston Villa asset, but then after that in game week at 20 and 21 and so forth, they have great fixtures on the table. So Ollie Watkins will allow us to get massive value in there. There are some other options. I don't own a Watford striker, a Dennis, a Josh King. I don't know any of them, but I think the Aston Villa route is slightly more tempting because Watford overall didn't look that great against Brentford. Now, there has been some talks about actually keeping Ronaldo. As I mentioned earlier on, I do think the Brighton game on the weekend will go ahead. But with the way Brighton are kind of defending, if they have some first-team defenders back from injury, United haven't been playing that well overall. That game might be quite a low-scoring one, and therefore it could actually be quite good to take Ronaldo out, even though we only have had him for one game week. That downgrade will allow us to upgrade Mbumo. Unfortunately, Mbumo did score a 9-pointer last week, but I was going to get him out anyways, and the penalty was only kind of a sweet goodbye from the 5.5 midfielder, and that upgrade will be to a Man City midfielder. So Phil Foden, Bernardo Silva are my two favorites. Gundogan has this ongoing back injury. I'm expecting him to get benched tonight for Man City. That could go either way. I mean, who kind of knows with Pep Roulette, and now we have all these positive tests as well to take into account, but I just think Bernardo Silva and Foden are where it's at in my opinion. So this is a classic age-old debate, an FPL debate of a safety versus maverickness. So Bernardo Silva is definitely the safe option to go for, guaranteed to get most minutes for Man City, but then Foden has that explosive nature, and on the weekend, I think he had the second highest XG after Jota, even though both these two players only came off the bench. So Foden, Bernardo Silva, who to kind of go for? I'm leaning slightly towards Bernardo Silva just because Foden has this ongoing ankle injury, and over this festive period when the games are coming thick and fast, I do think he might be benched more than usual. But I really do want a Man City midfielder. They've got great fixtures coming up. I think Leeds this week at home and then Newcastle away, which are great fixtures on paper. And Man City generally score quite a few goals against these lower teams. And that's why I think this game is going to be one to own a Man City asset in. But now going on to the potential -8 transfer, and that's probably going to be Ben Foster out for either Ramsdale or Bachmann. So Bachmann straight kind of swap there, Watford goalkeeper for Watford goalkeeper. 0.1 I think is the upgrade, so not too much in the bank there. But Ramsdale's the higher upgrade that I could do. Probably will cost me about 1 million, but I do have a massive amount of value if I do downgrade Ronaldo. The only thing I don't like about that is that you're having quite a lot of budget in your goalkeepers, and the benching headache for the upcoming game weeks is going to be absolutely mental when De Gea and Ramsdale both have a great fixture. So that's why Bachmann's almost tempting me here. The only concern I have about that United and De Gea is that they might not have that Brighton game, even though I am predicting that they will have it. The worst case scenario is if they don't, I still do need a goalkeeper for 2 game weeks, and therefore -4 for a goalkeeper might be worth it in the long run. So overall, with that 1 free transfer, I would take a -8 hit, which is quite a lot. Don't you want to do that? But considering the fact that we didn't take a hit last week, I feel like we might be able to catch up some points in these next couple game weeks. Because there's no deadline stream, I will be waiting as long as possible to get these transfers confirmed, and I will be updating you guys over my Twitter page at Dayvy FPL for the latest confirmed transfer news. Otherwise, drop your comments down below. I'll try to get to all of them if I can, if I have time. But otherwise, it's best to wrap up the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did, and subscribe if you have not subscribed yet. Stay tuned for all the news over on Twitter, but I'll be trying to give you guys as much news as possible on my own Twitter account, and then I'll be confirming the moves a little bit later on, closer to the deadline. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.